Good evening and welcome into the after parties, me, the jury segment. We are going to take some time to go over the Colin Gray verdict and key moments in that trial. And then we are going to look at the Kouri Richins trial and kind of talk about what's happening in that trial and some key moments that happened this week. I have some special guests with me today, so I hope that you will be kind to my guests. We're going to chat and ask questions in real time. We will be looking at your questions as well. If you don't mind, hit that like button and come on in. Make sure that you are sharing and subscribing. And let's get started without delay. Welcome in Lincoln Libra, also
Hello.
known as Lincoln to us, and
Yep.
our good friend Lorenzo. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to get started and bring in the first video. We're going to do I'm going to play for you guys the testimony of Colin Gray's 13-year-old daughter. This was interesting for me, her testimony. So I want us to listen up and hear what she has to say, and then we'll talk about it before we listen to the verdict. So let's go ahead and get started.
What grade are you currently in?
Ninth grade.
And tell us a little bit about what kind of things you like and that you like to do.
I like listening to music in my spare time, and I like reading.
Okay, great. Jenny, do you have any siblings?
Yes.
And tell me what their names are.
My oldest brother is named Colin Gray, and my youngest is Kouri Gray.
How much older than you is Colt Gray?
He's 1 year older.
And how much younger than you is Coley Gray?
Ish, like, I'd say 4.
About 4 years younger?
Yeah.
So a good bit younger.
Mhm.
And then you and Colt are like pretty close in age.
Yes, ma'am.
Who are your biological mom and dad?
Marcy Gray and Colin Gray.
Okay. Does Colin Gray also go by Coley?
Mm.
Okay. And do you currently live in Barrow County?
No, ma'am.
And I don't need you to say their names or anything, but who do you live with now?
My foster parents.
Okay. Do you currently have any contact with your biological parents?
No, ma'am.
And do you currently have any contact with your brother Colt?
No, ma'am.
When was the last time, other than Coley, that you had any contact with anyone in your biological family?
I'd say 2 years ago.
Okay. So basically since early September of 2024?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is that your choice?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, Jenny, I'm going to start by talking a little bit about your life growing up. Did y'all move around a lot with your family when you were growing up?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And if I asked you to tell me all the dates and specific places and times and stuff, would that be hard for you to do?
Extremely, yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I'm going to take you back to October of 2023. So that was during your 7th grade year when you moved back up to Barrow County with Colin Gray. Do you know what time frame I'm talking about?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Once you moved up there during your 7th grade year, who all was living in your house at that time?
My father, my older brother, and my younger brother.
Okay. And was this the same house that y'all lived in up until September of 2024?
Yes.
Okay. Explain to me where everyone would sleep in that house.
So I would sleep in the master bedroom.
Okay.
And then My father and my younger brother would share a room across from my room, and then Colt had his own room. It was like the smallest one.
Okay. And did you consider the room that was like next to Colin and Kouri's room to be Colt's room?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did that room always have a bed in it?
No, ma'am.
Okay. When it didn't have a bed in it, where would Colt sleep?
When it didn't have a bed, he'd sleep in like our like laundry room place.
Okay.
Where our washing and drying.
Okay. Thank you.
A dog caught stealing Wellness Whimsy's dental treats, daily dental care for even the naughtiest of dogs.
Her to say that.
So you said Colt was 1 year older than you, so was he 1 grade ahead of you growing up?
Yes, ma'am.
So when you were in 7th grade, should he have been in 8th grade?
Yes, ma'am.
And when y'all first moved up from Fitzgerald to Barrow County in what would have been your 7th grade year, were there a few months before any of you got enrolled in school?
Yes, ma'am.
What did y'all do during the day during that time period?
We would just sit at the house, and sometimes Coley would go with my dad to his work. But
Okay. Was your dad working full time during that time?
yes, I think so.
Okay. And y'all were just home when he went to work?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When y'all were just home, you said Coley went with your dad sometimes to work, so sometimes he would go with him and sometimes he would stay home with y'all?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Whenever Colin would leave y'all alone at the house, did he lock up the guns in the house or anything?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So talking about that same time frame, after y'all move up here, you said you're not in school for a few months. At some point, did you and Coley get enrolled in school in February of your 7th grade year?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. At what middle school were you going to at that time? Was it Heyman Morris Middle School?
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. And was that middle school that was right next to the high school?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. In Barrow County?
Yes.
Okay, I'm pausing this. We're not going to listen to her entire testimony, but I just wanted you all to have a sense of what the home life was like. Colt sleeping in a laundry room or in his room if there was a bed, and not even being able to. I still remember the name of the junior high school I went to. Like not even being able to remember the name of the schools. For the entire 8th grade year, Colt was not enrolled in school at all. He missed his entire 8th grade year, and there was no homeschooling. And he just went from 7th grade to 9th grade, just I don't know why, just because. So it was a very unstable kind of home life for them. And I just thought that was kind of telling as to how something like this could happen, because he didn't have really a grasp on what was happening with the kids. I guess he was just doing the best that he could. I don't want to be too judgmental, but it seems like there was something missing in the home life. And I just wanted you all to hear that part before I played for you the actual verdict. So let's listen to this verdict, and it'll be quick. Let's check it out.
Yes.
So was the verdict unanimous?
Yes.
And have you signed, dated it, and filled in your verdict where applicable?
Yes.
All right, we'll go into the bailiff. Thank you, sir. And then counsel, if y'all want to approach to inspect the verdict.
He has like 39 charges.
Since y'all both here. lesser forms. Any objections to the form or legality of the verdict?
Not from the state, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor. Ms. Jones, if you will publish the verdict.
In the Superior Court of Barrow County, State of Georgia versus Colin Gray, case number 24-CR-593-P, jury verdict. Count 1, murder in the second degree. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 2, cruelty to children in the second degree. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 3, murder in the second degree. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 4, cruelty to children in the second degree. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 5, involuntary manslaughter, unfaithful act. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 6, reckless conduct. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 7, involuntary manslaughter, unlawful act. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 8, reckless conduct. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 10, cruelty to children in the second degree. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 11, cruelty to children in the second degree. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 12, cruelty to children in the second degree. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 13, cruelty to children in the second degree. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 14, cruelty to children in the second degree. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 15, cruelty to children in the second degree. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 16, cruelty to children in the second degree. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 17, cruelty to children in the second degree. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 18, cruelty to children in the second degree. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 19, cruelty to children in the second degree. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 20, cruelty to children in the second degree. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 22, cruelty to children in the second degree. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 23, cruelty to children in the second degree. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 24, cruelty to children in the second degree. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 25, cruelty to children in the second degree. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 26, cruelty to children in the second degree. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 27, reckless conduct. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 28, reckless conduct. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Count 29, reckless conduct. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty. This third day of March 2026, signed for person.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Counsel, do we need the...
Well, that's that. Okay. All right. Y'all can come off mute. Let's chat. What do you want to say?
I got a question.
Okay, ask.
How do you... They read a lot of those that were the same. How do you get different counts for the same thing? I guess that's the best way to put it.
Okay, good. So I was going to explain, so I'm glad you asked, that all of those child endangerment and all those different child endangerment counts is for every child that was injured or unalived because of what Colt did. So anybody that was injured or unalived or mentally affected, they had to go to counseling because of it. He got a charge for each one of those. And also the same thing with the what was it?
Endangerment.
endangerment,
Yeah.
reckless conduct. He got multiple counts for those as well. So
They
any
know.
Okay.
that affected a different person, he got a charge for it. Yeah.
Wow, that's that's
Two teachers also that lost their lives as well. Two students, two teachers, and then a bunch of other injuries.
so.
One,
When is a
go ahead.
okay? When is the final sentencing, or this was the sentence right here?
I will let you know when the sentencing is. I
Okay.
don't know for sure yet. But
Lie,
the
lie.
Oh
yeah, he
yes,
ain't
of
never.
course. Oh yeah, you getting that?
Also, Colt has not yet been tried,
Ooh.
so we still have that trial to go. But
Yeah.
one of the children that was injured, she took the stand, and she still has a lot of issues because of this injury. A lot of pain that they don't know if it'll go away or not. It's just really a sad thing that this even had to happen because his ex-wife, I don't know if they're still, I think she filed for divorce. I don't think it's final yet. But anyway, the children's mother, she had called the school that morning, moments before this happened. And she had tried to call on another occasion to tell the counselor that she was very concerned, that he had been off, that he had been talking about his fascination with other school shooters, and that she was just really concerned. She had also tried to talk to Colin, the father, and tell him some of her concerns and tell him that she thought he needed to take the guns away, to lock them up. And none of that happened. And as I had mentioned to you guys before, on the day that this happened, after the announcements went out and everybody knew that there was a school shooting, Colin went home to check to see if. Hello, Jen. Thank you.
Hey
Hi.
Jen.
We just finished watching the verdict for the Colin Gray trial, and I was just explaining that even on the day that this happened, Colin went home after he heard about the school shooting to see if the guns were still there.
Mm.
He didn't go to the school. All the other parents are rushing to the school to check on their children. He's going to check to see if he in trouble. That's
Mhm.
really what it is. We also watched a little clip of Jenny's testimony. Jenny is the sister. She had texted her father on the day that she heard on the day that she heard this, that there was a shooting. She texted him and they kind of text back and forth, and he said to her, I guess we're thinking the same thing. And she said, yeah, but I don't want to text that. And so they already knew it was him. As a parent, I would never have suspected that it was my child unless I
Mm-mm.
already knew it was a problem. I would have been rushing to the school, making sure that my child was alive. He wasn't rushing to the school because he knew his child was the one that did it. That is
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've heard him say things as far as like, I didn't, when they asked him, Did you know what you're looking for? No, I didn't know. I didn't. I wouldn't have even thought that. Well, why would you have not thought that if that's the
That's
first
crazy.
thing you went and did?
right. Of course you thought it.
Yeah.
So there was also a time when Colt, the son, had made some threats on Discord that was reported, and the police came to their home to question Colin and Colt about these messages. And of course, Colt denied it. he said that his Discord had gotten hacked and he stopped using it. Nobody checked the computer.
That's what I say every time I say something crazy. So it's clearly someone hacked into my Well, couldn't have been
It
me.
wasn't me. They saw me on the counter. It wasn't me. So anyway.
Exactly.
So the father asked them, the cops in this interview, well, questioning that happened on his front porch. He said, if you tell me it was him, I'm gonna take those guns away. And they said, well, we don't know, but we're questioning because it came from your IP address.
Take them anyway.
He didn't. And so now we're here. So although I feel bad because I do not think that every parent should be responsible for everything that their child does. Because sometimes when they're not in our presence, we don't know what they're doing. But something of this magnitude where you had warning sign after warning sign after warning sign, when you yourself were not giving them a stable environment. This child is sleeping here, there, and everywhere in the home. The house is not tidy. They're kind of fending for themselves. Yeah, you got to be held responsible for this one. So
you're also supposed to know your children. So
you're supposed to know your children.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true.
Well,
go ahead.
And also, I was going to ask too, because I know he had spoke about this gun that he got for him. Well, it was for hunting. Okay, I can appreciate that, right? I mean, my own kids or kid had their own gun for hunting, but in Oregon, at least, I'll say, I don't know what the laws are. Technically, you're supposed to have your stuff locked up. And I don't just mean why? So I'm not sure why you can't just say, especially if in the back of your mind, even if you don't want to admit that, but in the back of your mind, if you're like, yeah, it's for hunting, but I really don't know. Like, I'm not sure why you wouldn't have that locked up.
They did not have.
We had this understanding. Like, okay, so
they
you
didn't even
clearly
have
had
a safe in the house. So
yeah. I mean, even if you don't have a safe, I mean, you can still put a lock on the actual gun itself. So I'm just so confused when, like you said, the first thing he did was run in and check for the gun. So I feel bad from the standpoint of maybe you didn't know everything to do to help him, but you certainly knew he needed help.
Well, he didn't do enough. And I think that's the real problem why he's being held liable, because many people had suggested that Colin get counseling. And he would call the center and inquire, but never actually follow through with the visits. So he never got any help. But he had been told over and over again that Colin needed some counseling. I think that even teachers and in-school counselors wasn't quite sure what he needed, but they knew he needed something more than they could provide. I think that he was in a brand new school. So this school, he enrolled, I think August the 29th. And this happened on September the 4th.
Yeah. You know why I think, I mean, when I heard those dates, the first thing I thought is, well, that made it easier for him. You don't have any attachment to these particular people. You know what I mean? So
that, and
like
nobody knew him. So so that was the other big issue, since you bring that up. His name was Colin Gray, but they had a Colin Gray that wasn't there. So what happened on that morning, this was like his first full day in school. He goes to class, he's in the class, and he asked the teacher, do y'all have active shooter drills here? And the teacher said that really alarmed her. She said,
I would imagine so.
Right, he's new. I don't know him. why would any student be like, that's the first question they ask on their first day of school. So she
Right.
sent an email to the principal, like, I don't know, but this is what happened. And I think she even went to the office to report this, that I don't know, he didn't do anything in particular, but it just made me uncomfortable. And also, he has a book bag with something really large sticking out of it, and
Uh-huh.
it was like wrapped in cardboard with a hat on top of the cardboard. And she asked him, "What is that?" And he said it was a project. She said that also alarmed her because he had, what project? Like, you just got here.
You
Like, what?
just started. Yeah. I've wondered
See,
that
that's
myself. Because
Yeah.
how did
How did he get that
nobody
big, a
yeah.
long? Yeah. So that's
And he
how
just looks awkward carrying it around. I mean, so I
she
don't
said the
understand,
bag
yeah.
was
like,
heavy.
That
Like,
seems awkward. Yeah.
she
you're the
pointed all of
only
that
one
out.
doing this project.
And so the
Right.
other adults there were actively trying to do something. Like, they were alarmed by his behavior, this book bag, like all of these things. And so when the principal came to the classroom looking for him, they actually pulled out Colin Gray and not
Oh.
Colt. And the other problem is they don't know him, so they don't know what he looks like. So the picture that they had, in school systems, everything is kind of linked. So
Mhm.
the picture that they had of him was from like 4th grade. So he doesn't look like that anymore. And
Wow.
so when they pulled Colton out, they was like, no, this is not the same kid. So that's when they went back to the teacher and she said, no, it's Colt. It's 2 different kids. And so now they're trying to figure out, okay, what class is he in now? So that's the delay. All of these delays were happening because they were trying to pull him out of class. But he had asked to go to the restroom in one class. And he waited in the restroom. And
Uh-oh.
What?
sorry, wait.
Okay.
I don't know why we lost connection, but
Lincoln is hosting now.
he's not.
He looks so confused, like, oh God, it's me.
He's like, what's happening? I don't want to be on center stage. Sorry, Lincoln.
You're right. Okay.
But they were actively looking for him. That's the whole point. And it was a little bit of confusion. And before you know it, the school resource officers and the principal, they had met kind of like in the atrium, which is like in the middle of the school where you can see all the different hallways, to try to figure out where he is. And that's when it was too late. They start hearing the shooting.
Did they say what type of weapon it was?
It was a AR something. It was a long weapon.
I thought so.
High
So
power.
when I heard that, I wondered, how do you rationalize, I gave him that for hunting? Are hunting with that?
Right. Especially that kind right there. That's crazy.
Well, I don't know for sure if that is the weapon he gave him. That was
just the one he had. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if that's
Still
the one.
guilty.
He's guilty.
Still guilty.
Yeah.
Life.
I had a question, because weren't his parents divorced? Is that correct?
So they're not. I still don't think they're divorced. They were separated. And she had actually lost custody of the kids because she was addicted.
Mm.
And she had been working to get clean. And she was getting visitation. But then she had a dirty test. And then they took the kids from her permanently.
Sugar.
Nah, that was meth, baby. You should have seen her on the plane. It was definitely.
Oh, okay.
Well, and this will. I don't want to. I'm hoping you'll understand when I say this way, because considering the kind of home that he grew up in, and I'm not saying that a man can't take care of his kid, but I kind of just, it makes me question. I mean, was dad not oblivious because he had these concerns? But sometimes I feel like, especially, well, it could be women too, but in this instance, it's a man. So it's him and his son, where they've probably never really been on their own together, and they're just kind of weeding through things. And I just wonder, what are all of dad's problems too, because I'm not sure how you don't, you know what I mean. There's just so many things I think about this, and I feel bad. You rubbing my head? Go ahead, keep doing it. Keep doing it. Go ahead, do it. Do it. It's very soothing, clearly. Um, I don't know. It just makes me wonder. I mean, he's obviously, this is a horrible thing. Again, I always go back. I feel bad. I feel bad for this kid. I
Mhm.
I mean, there's
feel
parts
bad
of the,
for all of the kids because there are two
yeah.
younger siblings who are now in foster care, who don't have any contact. She said on the stand she doesn't have any contact with her brother or her mother, and that's her choice. She lives with her foster parents now. And
And
we
how old is she?
14 now, but she was
Okay.
13 at the time.
Hmm.
And we don't even know what's going on with the younger sibling because he's about 4 years younger than her. It is a sad situation, but after hearing everything that I heard, he's responsible for burying his head in the sand. He's responsible for that. And
Hmm.
it's really unfortunate that that's what it was. But hi Mandy. Um, let's look at Mandy's question.
I can't see question.
You can't see it?
Mm-mm.
No, I
Y'all
don't see what
flash it
she's.
on the screen?
Rub my head again. I'll read it to you. OMG, people can be on a panel here?
Oh,
How
okay,
come
okay.
you
Yeah.
can't see it?
Mm.
Okay,
Oh,
I'm
that's
gonna
all
put
right.
it
No.
back again. Can you see it?
Yeah.
No, maybe I need to be in a different. Okay, here's a little piece of paper looking thing. What does that do? Oh, there it
Yeah,
is.
Okay, you see now? Okay.
Yeah, okay.
that
It
would
is
be
in there.
called the chat. That little paper is a chat.
Oh yeah.
No,
Okay.
you're just kidding me.
All right, I see that.
So yes,
It's very
it's
dark right here.
unfortunate, but he had many warning signs. I'll just kind of leave it with that. He had warning signs. He had people um, uh, talking to him and telling him that his son needed counseling. And I think that if he had been actively trying to get him help and this happened, he would not be going to jail right now. But because he did nothing, that is the absolute reason why he is going to prison for life. Because all them 29 charges, guilty on everything, he ain't never going to see the light of day again.
Yeah, that was a
So,
lot
Another
of charges.
thing that didn't help, unless they showed something that I didn't see.
mhm.
I never saw any kind of remorse, like I'm sorry for the children.
I didn't
I'm
either.
sorry this
I didn't either.
happened. But it
Nope.
was a bad choice, that I made with my son by him. Nothing. You
Mhm.
just,
I didn't
yeah,
see
I
no.
gave him the gun. Kids
Yeah,
should grow up with weapons.
I didn't see no
My
sympathy,
daddy
no
gave me
remorse.
one.
I didn't see none of that.
Well, and obviously I got in here late, so I guess, and maybe you said this. So
You know,
do
open
you
debate. Yeah.
do you feel like, I mean,
Go ahead, Jen.
Anyway, anywho,
do you feel like I mean, because it's going to be a long time, right? Do you feel like that is just
Yes.
for that whole time?
Yeah.
I think so. I think so too.
Yeah. The reason why I think it's just is because a lot of reasons. First of all, they got to start making examples of these parents who are not
What it is.
actively doing
Yep.
anything
Mm-hmm.
to try
Hold
to
them
help
accountable.
this situation, because there are way too many incidents of school violence, and parents are just acting completely oblivious. Oh, I had no idea. And in this instance, it's not like this kid was a stellar student and lived a model life at home and never got into any trouble. If that were the case and this just came out of nowhere, then okay, maybe I would say we being too harsh on him. But all the signs were there. He had many warnings. He had actually contacted, this is what I was getting ready to say. He had actually contacted this private counseling place to try to inquire about getting Colt counseling. And the lady called, he sent a message. She called, she emailed, she kept trying to follow up with him to get Colt an appointment. He never responded. He never replied. He just didn't do anything. So he just did not do enough to make me say he tried. He didn't try.
How long prior to that was he trying to make that appointment or called to inquire?
I'm not sure.
I mean, it's not like he could say,
like
well, it was the day before and I called, Yeah.
I feel like it was in the summer time, but it had been like she had tried for weeks, and nothing. So yeah, I in this case, he deserves all of that time. I believe, because he just put his head in the sand.
I'd like to also add, Your Honor, if you notice, he named his son Colt, and I'm not referring to the malt liquor. He named his son Colt. Okay.
Yeah.
Look what happened.
What is wrong?
He could have been referring to
the
malt liquor. I'm trying to go where there's actual light, because otherwise I just look like I'm.
So
you got the haze, Maddie Hayes.
When there are more updates, I did mention also that Colt has not gone to trial yet, so that should be interesting.
Well, maybe they'll be cellmates. They can still live together, dad and son.
I bet you they wouldn't. They would send him somewhere else.
He don't need that influence anymore.
He's gonna get a whole different kind of influence now.
Yeah.
So let's
got a pretty mouth
and talk about Kouri Richins. It has been quite the interesting week in the Kouri Richins trial. On day 5, I thought for sure that the prosecution had lost this case. The witnesses, which were her friend or person that she had hired to do some cleaning for her properties, that she supposedly asked, allegedly, to get the drugs that she allegedly used to poison her husband, and the dealer that she got said drugs from didn't remember a thing. They can't recall.
I don't recall.
I don't
maybe
remember.
Show me the call. If you got a text, show it to me. They didn't know nothing.
What exactly are drugs? What are those?
I'm confused.
I never even sold fentanyl back then. I don't know.
Has to be more careful.
I was like, how are they going to prove this crime? Because the very people that, were the go-betweens, they don't know nothing. And some of it, they admit, was due to their usage for all of these years. They just can't remember. So I was concerned. And then day 6 happened.
Oh boy.
In day 6, they brought in the data forensics guy that started showing us all the text messages.
Sorry.
Started showing us
Okay.
text messages between Carmen and Robbie. It showed on the map them traveling to meet one another when they were in the same area. When Carmen started texting Kouri to say, I'm on my way back. When Robbie was leaving, I said, oh, they got him. That told a totally different story. I'm going to play for you guys a little bit of Carmen's testimony. I'm going to play you little bits and pieces of a lot of different things. So let's get started because it's a lot to cover. So here is day 5, part 1.
Got those in March of 2022, right?
Correct.
And he said, remember, we tried to get more. We asked Kouri if she could get more, and she said she didn't want any more, so we couldn't get any more, remember?
Correct.
Why was it that you wanted more pills?
I don't think I was the one asking for them. Nick did. Nick wanted to know because Nick benefited from it when he got made the $300.
Nick said that was the last time we could get them, correct?
Correct.
Meaning you and Nick.
Nick was the one that drove me down the last one, yes. Correct.
And that Nick and you wanted to get more pills, correct?
I don't recall me on that video. It wasn't me asking for them.
Your Honor, can we, I'd like to admit the recording.
This is the defense attorney.
Mr. Bloodworth, you've heard it. Any objection?
No.
Okay. Pause for 1 moment. Katie, let me make sure you're connected. Let me know when you have them queued up. This should work. Are you connected? Here, we'll start again. My apologies.
And this is Defense Exhibit 307 for the record.
Okay.
3007.
This is actually 308. The one you admitted.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Katie, would you do me a favor?
3008.
Plug back in.
They're horrible. With the tech too.
Let me know when you've plugged back in.
Seemed like it, but okay.
Winging it.
You're not showing anything on your desktop.
They need to hire him.
It's just
Forgive me, I'm not sure the audio player is connected. Can you drag it into?
Well, because remember I kept asking, like, hey, text Kouri, do we need any more? And that, so me and you was the last time we were able to get any because she didn't want any anymore. Because remember her guy was out of town or whatever?
I don't know.
Can we play the next part?
I mean, I know that, like, I kept asking, like, hey, does her guy want more? Does her guy want more? So, and you were like, and she'd always say no. So, like, I know you and me, it was the last time, unless you cheated on me and went with somebody else, which I don't think you would have. Yeah.
All right. So Nick said he's the one that texted, but then he said that's the last time you and me could get any of those pills, correct?
That was the last time Nick and I had gone to the Maverick.
Right, we listened to the call. He said that's the last time you and me could get any of those pills. That's what the call says.
That's the last time him and I went to the Maverick, correct.
Right. I'm going to try and ask the question again.
Your Honor, objection. Asked and answered. It's in evidence. It says what it says.
Sustained. Please ask your next question.
Sure. All right, let's go back to the May 10th interview with Ms. Whistler and the others. Maybe turn to page 26, and I'll ask you if you can remember this, and if you can't, you can look down at the page.
So I'm pausing right here because when they introduced Carmen, they mentioned that she has been diagnosed with a learning disability and anxiety, and also the fact that she's been using illegal substances since she was at least in the 6th grade. And so they have all these notebooks all surrounding her, and they keep saying, grab this book, look at this. And it was, you can tell it was overwhelming her. And I felt horrible for her because they were twisting her words, confusing her. And I didn't feel like the prosecution did a lot to step in and clean some of this up. But anyway, I just wanted to give y'all that heads up while we watch her try to find whatever they're in her to that she probably can't read.
Just wait 1 moment. She's going to ask you a question, Ms. Logan.
Okay. So Ms. Whistler asked you how often that when you were using drugs, how often you were using. And you told her hardly ever, like maybe once a month. You recall that?
Correct.
Okay, but that wasn't true, correct?
Correct.
Because you were using a lot more than once a month during February and March of 2022.
Correct.
Okay. So you weren't honest with Ms. Whistler, correct?
Correct.
All right. So then she wants to talk to you about the first drug purchase, the one with Susan Kohler. And turn to page 34, just so you have it ready. But first I'll ask if you remember, and then if you don't remember, you can look at the interview, okay? All right. Now, you told Ms. Whistler that you couldn't remember when you sold pills to, or I'm not, excuse me, when you bought pills from Susan Kohler, but it was wintertime, correct?
Correct.
And then you tell Ms. Whistler the other guys, referring to Detective O'Driscoll and Maynard, they made it much easier because they drew it all out for me. Do you remember that?
No, not.
Okay, take a look at page 34.
She's trying to imply that the detective created this whole story and told them what he said.
Correct. Okay, so you said they made it a lot easier, but Ms. Whistler's making you tell the story yourself, correct?
Yes.
All right. So again, you say you went to Susan Kohler and bought oxycodone, correct?
Correct.
That those were prescription pills that Susan got for a friend, correct?
Yes.
And I take it you don't know how many milligrams of oxycodone those pills were. Do you know that?
No, I didn't look at them. I didn't count. I didn't ask.
Okay, fair. And you told her that you fronted the money to Susan.
Yes.
You told Ms. Whistler that. And then you told Ms. Whistler and the U.S. Attorney's Office that you were supposed to leave the pills in the closet in the Midway house, the small Midway house, and the money would be in the closet. But instead you decided to leave them in the fire pit, correct?
I don't recall. No.
Okay, let's go to page 46. And if you take a look at that, and look at where it talks about you were supposed to leave the pills in the closet.
So what was your question?
Is that, in fact, what you said, that you were supposed to leave the pills in the closet and the money would be in the closet, correct?
It doesn't say anything about the pills or what one it was.
Can you take a look? Are you on page 46 of the May 10th interview?
Yes, I'm on page 46.
And that's not refreshing your recollection?
It just says in the next day, I want to say it was brighter, and she said the money go inside the house and the money was in the closet.
Okay, that's what I'm
Doesn't
referring
say
to.
which day.
That's what I'm referring to.
Which purchase?
That you were going to leave the pills in the closet and the money was going to be in the.
So she's skipping over what Carmen just said. Carmen said, yes, it says that, but it doesn't say which purchase. And she like just kept talking over that part. And I hope that the jury is paying attention to all those little things, because, you know, they are trying to make the lady look out to be a liar. But in fact, I think she's trying to be as honest as she possibly can, because she just doesn't remember. It's
Where's
like,
the objection?
Well, I have plenty of objections, but the prosecution didn't object to nothing. They just let them crucify this lady on the stand. But I'll continue.
Closet. That's what you told Ms. Whistler.
Your Honor, just objection foundation. Which purchase here are we discussing?
I already said that. It was the first purchase with Susan Kohler. We talked about that.
I think that clarification, we need to be much more careful about whether you are impeaching or refreshing.
Okay,
And
I understand.
I'm confused. I think the witness's responses will be tough to determine on a written record.
All right.
What she's doing.
Okay. So the question is, when talking about the first purchase with Ms. Kohler, you told Ms. Whistler originally you were supposed to leave those oxycodone pills in the closet and that the money was going to be in the closet, correct?
I don't recall on that one.
But you just read it, correct?
It doesn't say Susan Kohler or anything in there. It just says that the money doesn't refer to what purchase you're talking about in here.
So there were like 3 or 4 different purchases. And that's where the confusion is. She's like, this doesn't say which purchase you're talking about. You're like, she's trying to nail her down that you didn't leave the money in the closet. You didn't leave the money in the fire pit. But she's like, this don't even clarify which sale we talking about. Yes, Lorenzo.
When you start going for too long, beating that same dead horse, and you don't move along, I start to wonder or forget, what was your point? What are you trying to get?
That's why the judge said you need to be much more clear, because I'm even confused. And I think that was happening a lot. She was on the stand for 2 days. This is day 2. And it was much of that, you know. And at the end of her testimony, they said, she not released. We might call her back in our case in chief. So they had her on the stand for 2 days, and they still like, she can't talk to nobody about this case because we might call her back. So this is Carmen. This continues on like this for another 8 hours. We're gonna move. We're not
really.
Dang.
She was on the stand most of the day on day 4 and the whole day of day 5. So there's a part 2 to day 5. So we're gonna skip to that. I just wanted you to get a feel for what her testimony was like and how difficult it was, and why I said I don't know how they intend to prove this case. I don't know. I don't know. Here we go. Let's go to the next.
Okay. I need closure. What was your point about where the drugs were?
Well, we don't know where the drugs were. Okay, so before I go to the next video, she said that there was 3 or 4 different purchases. The first purchase she was supposed to have gotten from a lady named Susan. Susan had, she thinks, oxys. So she goes to Susan, she gets a few pills. She fronts the money because it was $600, and Kouri leaves the money in a house that she's doing a flip on. It's empty. She's like, the money will be there. So she goes to the house, she gets the money, out the closet, and she's supposed to leave the pills in the house, but she said she didn't feel comfortable just leaving them out in the open. So instead, she left them in the fire pit behind the house, like up under the rocks. And that's how they did that exchange. She said the second buy, Kouri called her back and was like, do you have something stronger? The first buy happened on February 11th. February 14th, Valentine's Day, Kouri gives her husband a sandwich, a breakfast sandwich. He gets very sick. He's out for the count the whole day. He's calling his friends and shit. He's calling his friends. He's like, listen, if I don't make it, I love you. No, okay. Those probably wasn't his words, but he basically calling people, telling them how sick he was. He wasn't feeling well. And they were like, are you going to the hospital? Like, people are really concerned because he's like, I'm really sick. And then the next morning he wakes up, thank God, everything's fine. So the police believe that that was the first attempt on his life, but the pills weren't strong enough. So she calls Carmen back and she says, I need something stronger, because she's saying that she's getting the pills for a client that has back pain. He needs something stronger. He said that wasn't strong enough. So Carmen was like, I don't know what you want me to do. It's not like this is a pharmacy. I can't just go in there and be like, order up whatever I want. And so she said, but I'll see what I can do. So instead of going back to Susan, because she knows Susan's prescription is not strong enough, she calls another woman she knows. And that woman puts her in touch with this guy, Robbie. Can you get something stronger than Oxy's? He was like, yeah. So she meets up with Kouri, gets the money because it was more expensive this time. It was like over $1,000. She gets the money from Kouri. She goes, meets the guy. She gets the stuff. She comes back, give it to Kouri. And then there is another call for more. So she's constantly going back and forth and picking up purchases for Kouri, and Kouri is constantly asking for something stronger. So she asked for the Michael Jackson stuff, and Carmen was like, I didn't even know what that was. I had to look it up. And so she looks it up, and the guy's like, yeah, no, I ain't got that. He was like, she says, he's like, I might could get M30s or something stronger than that. All right. She meets him up again. She gets the second set. She comes back, whatever. So this is all that's like kind of taking place. Well, now it's this whole confusion about which purchase when, where you dropped it off, who did you meet? And so they're going back and forth between purchases, and she's confused. Anybody would be. I'm confused. I just told y'all that whole thing and I don't even remember. It's confusing. And if you're somebody that's actively using, it would be even more confusing, I would think. So that's kind of what was going on. So anyway, let's move on to the second part, day 5, part 2.
Well, and just because you're a user, doesn't mean, you're using for your own reasons of whatever you're doing. And since she's been using for so long, that doesn't mean that, she's like a whole, like you said, like a whole damn pharmacy. What the hell? Oh, sorry. What the heck?
But the other thing is, like I said, that they're trying to make her out to be a liar. I personally felt that she came across very credible. She didn't really deny much of anything. She cried a lot on the stand. She said that she really loved Eric, that he was always kind to her. And she was like, the moment that she found out that he passed, she called Kouri and was like, that don't have nothing to do with what I got for you. And Kouri said, no. He passed from an aneurysm. So she lied to the lady. Then she finds out later on that he did, in fact, pass of a drug overdose. And when she got arrested, she was like, I'm willing to do whatever. Like, if I had anything to do with this, I'm willing to pay the price. I'm willing to tell you whatever. And to me, she came off as being honest, nothing but honest. So we're going to hear what this guy has to say, because this was good.
Yep, my name is Marcos Garagachia. My last name is spelled Garaycochea.
Where do you work?
At the Salt Lake County District Attorney's Office.
What's your role there?
I'm in the Special Investigations Unit.
What does that mean?
We have a forensics lab in the Special Investigations Unit where we download phones, we image hard drives, create demonstrative exhibits for court, and do cell mapping.
Are you trained to perform cell phone downloads?
Yes.
What certifications or what programs are you trained to use?
As far as the programs go, Graykey and Cellbrite and Axiom.
Did you receive a request from the Summit County Sheriff's Office to download some cell phones?
Yes.
I want to talk about those phones. I want to talk about 3 of those phones.
Okay.
So first I want to talk about a white iPhone 12 with phone number ending 1987. Are you familiar with the phone I'm talking about?
Yes.
Is this one of the phones that you were asked to perform a download on?
Yes.
And were you able to complete a download of this phone?
Yes.
Describe how you did that.
So I use what's called the Graykey machine to extract the data. Now all that data, it just comes in a zip file. Once that data is produced, you have to use a tool, forensic tool, in order to process the data. And I use the Cellbrite machine to do that.
And when you got that raw data from the phone, was there any way to manipulate that data that you extracted from the phone?
No.
You didn't change anything?
No.
And when you placed the raw data from that phone into the readable format, same question, was that data changed or manipulated in any way?
No.
How do you know that?
Cellbrite is a forensic tool that just specializes in just processing the raw data. You're unable to delete or modify any kind of processed data that it produces.
Once you put that raw data into a readable format, was that data given back to the Summit County Sheriff's Office?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Talking about the second phone, did you do a cell phone download for a green iPhone 11 with phone number ending 9317?
Yes, I did.
Okay, same questions. Were you able to perform a download on that phone?
Yes, I was.
And what was the process you used for that?
Again, I used a Graykey machine to extract the data, and then that extraction was processed through Cellbrite.
And same questions. Was that data manipulated or changed in any way when it was extracted from the phone?
No.
And how about once it was put into Cellbrite?
No.
Was that information from that second phone then given back to the Summit County Sheriff's Office?
Yes.
Okay. Now talking about the third phone I want to turn your attention to, that's an iPhone 7 ending 0904.
Yes.
Are you familiar with that phone?
Yes.
Were you able to complete a download of that phone?
I was.
Describe how you did that.
So I believe the iPhone 7 Plus was in need of some repair. So I fixed it, replaced the screen to a point where I was able to extract the data and get a partial download through Graykey again, and then processed it through Cellbrite.
Baby, she was trying to destroy them phones. She didn't want them to get in them phones. So she had 3 phones. There was a phone for Eric, and she was trying to, they confiscated one phone. She got another phone. She already had 2 phones because she was living a secret life. Y'all know she had a lover. And so she was communicating with him on one phone, communicating with the husband on another phone. On one phone, the only communication that was happening on that phone was with the lover. So anyway, after Eric's passing, they had confiscated her phone. So then she got another phone. And then they ended up confiscating that one too. So I just wanted to set that up for you. They have to download the phones and do the extraction. And they were just basically trying to set up the fact that once they download everything and do the extractions, they can't manipulate what they found on the phone. So whatever is in that report, that's what was on the phone. And so that's why they call him, to basically verify that he's the one that did all of this work, so that we can get to, the nitty gritty of who she was conversing with on these phones.
These old phones too.
Oh. Well, remember this happened in 2022. We can call to the stand the medical examiner, the second medical examiner. The first medical examiner, she's now retired, and it sounds like she kind of closed out things on her end before things really came to a close with the police investigation. So now, we kind of like need to get more information from this guy. And I'm so glad we did, because he knew way more about what he was talking about than the first lady, because Lord.
To the pains and penalties of perjury. Yes. Thank you. Have a seat.
Drag that chair wherever you need to.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Can you please state your full name and spell your last name for the record?
Sure. Eric Dean Christensen. Last name Christensen.
Sir, are you employed?
I'm currently self-employed.
I think I did a poor job setting this up. Before we get into this, there was a recess, and we had to have a conference outside of the presence of the jury, because the defense was trying to keep his testimony out. They did not want this man to testify. And I couldn't understand why, because whatever he testifies to, I was thinking it's already in the medical examiner report. We've already seen it. But after watching his testimony, I came to realize that the real reason why they didn't want him to testify is because Kouri called him to ask questions about what was in the final report. And that call was quite damning. Damning. I would not have ever asked those questions that she asked. And I think that is the real reason why they didn't want us to hear any of that. So let me go ahead and let it play a little longer, and then I'll fast forward to the good part.
You were recently the chief medical examiner for the state of Utah?
Yes, I retired in 2024.
How long were you the chief medical examiner?
I began working as a chief medical examiner in July of 2016.
Did you then supervise Dr. Ulmer?
I did.
Are you familiar with the death investigation for Eric Richins?
I am.
And how are you familiar with it?
I'm familiar with it from discussions with Dr. Ulmer over the time she was evaluating the case, as well as my subsequent review of the medical examiner's file.
Did you have an occasion to talk to Kouri Richins?
I did.
Okay. Have you testified as an expert in forensic pathology before?
I have many times.
Okay. I would like to first talk to you about cause and manner of death and the statutory requirement for that process. When you have a death investigation, could you please explain how, I guess, what the manner of death choices are and what's the purpose of that, and just describe that for the jury, please.
So, two of the things that the medical examiner is tasked with doing under statute is determining the cause of death and the manner of death. The manner of death is a box that we check on a death certificate that is essentially a one-word synopsis of the circumstances surrounding that person's death. The options available to us, we can certify that a death is a natural death. It can be an accident, it can be a suicide, it can be a homicide, or it can be, in Utah, the death certificate reads could not be determined, what most commonly is referred to as undetermined. And in those settings, undetermined essentially means we don't have enough information to decide which of those other four options best fits.
What's the purpose of that whole exercise?
Again, it's something that's on the death certificate, and so it's part of the vital statistics function that the medical examiner's office provides. All of the deaths that we investigate and deaths that we certify provide information then back to the state. Sometimes that's public safety, sometimes it's Department of Health. Other people will utilize that death certificate data to evaluate the ways that people are dying within the state and attempt to intervene to minimize those types of deaths.
In this particular case, were you stuck between the first four you mentioned, such that you ended up picking undetermined or cannot be determined?
Yes, again, and just to be clear, I didn't sign the death certificate, Dr. Ulmer did, but certainly was involved in discussions around that. And the determination, making a determination of undetermined means that we generally can't decide between two. In this case, I would say actually generally most cases where we certify death as undetermined, it's because in overdose deaths that we certify as undetermined, it's because I don't know enough about the person's own intent. We see it frequently in the setting, for example, of people that may have depression or other mood disorders, and maybe even prior suicide attempts, as well as they may have substance use history that they use to self-medicate their depression and things. And so if someone overdoses on a drug that they're known to abuse, but they also have depression, if they don't leave a note or something else, then I don't really have a means of, telling just from looking at that, did they mean to do this or is it accidental, incident to their normal drug use? That's the most common scenario in which we certify a death as undetermined. In this case in specific, we did not really have any concerns about suicide in this case, but there had been concerns related to our office that perhaps someone had done something to provide this to him and that he didn't just take it himself, but we didn't know. We had no idea how he got the stuff into his system, and so with that, we were left with undetermined.
So the choice there would have been, as opposed to accident and suicide, it was accident and homicide.
Correct.
Okay. Could you describe for the jury the way in which the body processes substances? In particular, I'm looking at opiates and the different ways they can be ingested.
Okay, there's a lot in that question.
Yes.
I'm going to fast forward to get so that we could get a little bit closer to this. This is what I want to get to, this phone call.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Hey, this is Kouri Richins. Hey, I just have some quick questions for you. I'm just trying to understand the toxicology report, and I promise I won't take up a ton of your time.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
Can you just kind of explain to me, I guess, she was saying that this kind of supplemental report, I guess, was left out of the first autopsy, and so nothing has really changed. Do you have it in front of you?
I do. Yeah, I got the file here.
Scott, did we drop that again?
Yes. No.
All right, I apologize, folks. Let's try that again.
When I said they're tech.
Scott, if you would disconnect from the system, thank you. Then reconnect, please.
Seeing if we do any additional microscope.
Another transfer, right? So much. Thank you so much. No problem.
What's that, Chris?
Hey, this is Kouri Richins. Hey, I just have some quick questions for you. I'm just trying to understand the toxicology report, and I promise I won't take up a ton of your time.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
Can you just kind of explain to me, I guess, she was saying that this kind of supplemental report, I guess, was left out of the first autopsy, and so nothing has really changed. Do you have it in front of you?
I do. Yeah, I got the file here.
So can you...
So just so you know, so we issue supplemental reports, like if once the original report's issued, if we do any additional testing, if we do any additional microscopic examination, anything like that, then we include that. You know, we issue a supplemental report to include that additional information. And sometimes it does change the cause or manner, but in this case it didn't.
Okay, it was just like extra testing done?
Extra tox testing, yeah. So originally the only toxicology testing that was done was on blood. And so then this was additional testing on stomach contents.
Okay, and so is there a difference in that, I guess?
Well, they just tell you different things in the sense of, it tells you something about what, was it, is it been there a long time? Is this something the person's been using for a long time? Okay. Is it something they ate? Is it something they, injected? Is it, whatever? And there's different things you can learn by looking at different substances. I mean, we fully expected to find it in the stomach. It's just a question of what was there.
So does this tell you, like, if it was like injected, if he ate it, is that what this, can you tell from this report?
Not definitively. I mean, it seems like, with what the amount that's there, that it probably was ingested, probably taken by mouth.
Okay, and so so the 15 ng, like, is that like a substantial amount? Is that like a trace?
That's a lot of fentanyl in the blood, yeah. I mean, that's, people die with half that amount or less in their system.
Okay, so that's quite a bit.
Yeah.
So what's the next one down, the norfentanyl?
It's a metabolite of fentanyl. It's what your body changes fentanyl into after you take it.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay. And then, sorry, just the third one, the acetyl. I don't know how you say that.
Acetylfentanyl.
Oh.
Yeah, that's just it's a form of, it's a variant of fentanyl that is usually only present in the setting of illicitly manufactured fentanyl.
Illicit manufactured, like a pharmacy?
No. Most fentanyl that we see that, ends up leading people to die these days is related to, fentanyl that's manufactured by drug cartels as opposed to by pharmaceutical companies.
Oh, good Lord. So this is like more of like a cartel. No, I mean, that's not what it is.
They call this the street fentanyl as opposed to,
prescription. Okay, I see. And then is the ethanol, is that alcohol?
That's alcohol. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and is that like the 279, is that kind of like a substantial amount, or is that like one drink? Is that 5 drinks?
You can't tell how much it is, and in this case, since this testing was sent, quite a long time after the original autopsy, most likely that's related to, post-mortem change, but it could be stuff that he drank. There's not really a way to sort that out. It could be related to decomposition of the stomach contents, or it could be related to stuff he drank. But either way, in the stomach contents, there's no way to know what that level means in terms of, if that was a blood level, that would be the same as a 0.28. Which would be, that person would be pretty substantially intoxicated. But because it's gastric contents, you could in theory pull something out and it would be, 100% ethanol, if, depending on if they just drank a stomach full of, if they just drank a bunch of Everclear or something else. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't really tell you much about how much they drank or what they drank or anything like that.
I gotcha.
In the stomach. And it's not present in his blood, so.
I gotcha, okay. So it's not present in the blood, just the gastric or whatever.
Right.
Okay,
Yep.
And then just the last one. What is quetiapine? Quetiapine?
Quetiapine is an antipsychotic medication. It's called Seroquel.
Okay. I gotcha.
It's a prescription mental health medication.
Mm-hmm.
It's prescribed for different things.
I gotcha, okay. And it has like 16,000?
16,000 nanograms per milliliter. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and is that, quite a bit? Like,
That's a big number, but it doesn't really mean that much. So a nanogram is a millionth of a gram, and a gram is not very big. So even 16,000 of them is not a huge amount.
Okay. Is there could those have been mixed, or is that not kind of a...
What's that? Could what be mixed?
Quetiapine and the fentanyl? Or is that a normal, I guess, drug thing? I don't know.
It's not.
So I only wanted to play a little bit of that so that you could hear her calling this doctor, because to me, and I don't know about you, but that does not sound like a grieving widow. That does not sound like a woman who just lost her husband and is now finding out that he had all of these drugs in his system. And what is also interesting is the judge that she mentioned, the quetiapine, that is a drug that is prescribed to her. So the fact that she was acting like she couldn't pronounce it is weird, because you know how to pronounce any drugs that you're on, right?
Any medication.
Right. The doctor told you how to pronounce your medications. So to be acting like, oh, what is this? Everything about that call told me everything I needed to know. If I was on the jury, I'd be ready to vote right now. I'd be ready to vote. I'd be like, she's guilty. But we have so much more to cover and so much more to unpack. A lot happened this week. We got the lover on the stand yesterday. Today, 2 of her very best friends was on the stand. And so there is so much more to unpack with the Kouri Richins trial. I almost feel like I should have been doing a recap with you guys every day, because it's just been that much information. But next Thursday, I am going to start with the testimony from the agent that Chris Kotrodimos. He was the digital forensic guy that went over the cell phone usage between Carmen and Robert Crozier when they were getting ready to do their buys, and the text messages that she was sending to Kouri. And so you can see how this is really linking Kouri in and showing that she was fully aware of what was going on. While, she's trying to say, I don't know what happened. I want to be able to show you guys what I've been seeing and how it's all been unfolding. So we'll go over that. And that is a lot, but we'll do the main part of it. And then we're gonna go to the testimony of her former lover, Josh Grossman, because his testimony was very interesting. So perhaps we can do a little bit of that on Saturday. I mean, what do you guys think? Should we skip Karen Reed for one Saturday and unpack some of this Kouri Richins stuff? I'm kind of leaning toward maybe we should do that for Saturday, and so that we get completely caught up on everything that happened this week, and then go into next week completely fresh. So let's focus on Kouri Richins on Saturday instead of Karen Reed, and we can pick back up Karen Reed the following Saturday, or maybe, if I'm feeling, generous, maybe I'll do bonus coverage on Sunday again.
All right, sounds good.
We shall see. Listen, thank you so much, Lincoln, for joining me. Thank you, Jen, for joining me. Thank you, Lorenzo, for joining me for this discussion. All of your insight was very good for me to hear, and hear some of your questions and feedback. So keep it coming. Remember that the world has never met another you. Go out and be great in it. Have an amazing rest of your evening, and don't do anything that I would not do. That means do all the things. Thank you so much for joining me for another segment of Me the Jury.